Yes, this is the Mark Haney Show on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in the hometown we love. And we do that by building the Backyard Advantage, which is becoming the most connected community in the world for local entrepreneurs. It's based on this culture of love, helping one another. And it begins with one entrepreneur at a time, one conversation at a time. And the conversation, it can begin with, what are you working on? How can I help? And that kind of conversation, it's a lot more productive than let me just tell you about me and not listening. So today I'm going to do a little bit of listening. We're going to have some dialogue here with discussing one of my favorite subjects, youth development and youth sports and youth fitness. And so we'll have a nice conversation with the founder of National Academy of Athletics, Aaron Marcus, and Marcus Tolibas. He's an area captain for this area. So I guess we'll start with you, Aaron, because you founded the company. I know Marcus from yoga. He put this together, but you are the entrepreneur. When you came in, you saw the entrepreneurs are the heroes of the American economy. We have Markisms all over the place here. Tell me about you as an entrepreneur, baby. Just a little background.
Yeah. So, well, my mom's a pretty famous artist. My dad was a fairly famous holy man. And my dad left when I was 3. And my mom just said, gave me unconditional love to fail, succeed, figure life out on your own. A lot of love. And there were consequences when you didn't do things right. But basically, it was like, it's your journey. And again, growing up in the 60s, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And so I realized early on that I was not meant to work for people. So I was blessed. I worked for John Wooden, the most famous basketball coach in the world from UCLA back in the day, and then the Lakers and the Warriors. And 1989, I said, I can't do this because they were not giving kids the opportunities that I got, which was amazing coaches to help bring life skills, learn success, failure, and all of that. And so I walked away in 91. I started my first company, University of Sports, had it for 20 years, had an exit, an ugly exit, but an exit in 2011, started the National Academy of Athletics in 2012. And here we are. And the focus is really about just doing everything I can to give kids the experience that I got when I was a kid. And what magic works. And that's what, walking your halls is amazing because that's where Marcus comes in and connecting with people like that are like-minded to give kids better lives through participation in team sports.
So Marcus, welcome. You and I know each other a little bit from yoga and
namaste to that.
Namaste. Now you're a fitness guy. You're obviously in shape. And are you part of leading an effort here? Because you guys are more than just Sacramento. Is that right?
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. And thanks for having us.
We may need to have that mic moved a little closer.
Up a little closer.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, fitness has always been part of my world. Growing up around athletes, my dad and uncles and even his best friends that were considered my uncles, they always looked after me. And growing up in the parks of San Francisco, you were running a lot, whether it was from a dog or it was flag football or whatever it was. Being around sports and fitness has always kind of been, in my DNA.
And now you're helping young people. Tell me about what you do.
Yeah. So I'm a franchise owner for Sacramento East. I got the position, bought the franchise in June of last year and never looked back. And so what we do is we work with cities, municipalities, as well as schools, and we provide all types of different youth services from PE supplementation in schools, after school sports programs. We really kind of help to build, better communities, better lives through our schools. And then we work with the cities, recreation departments, and we're another arm of, what they provide their communities. And it's been a blessing, and we get to do what we grew up to do every day and actually get paid for it too. We make some money doing it.
So you work with after school programs and park and recreation and that kind of thing. And what actually happens? Do you send them to a boot camp? Is it ongoing training? Is it developing the life or the philosophies that maybe John Wooden had or something like that?
Yeah. A lot of it is, we start kids young. We have programs that start at 3 years old. I got a Little Shots basketball program. I got 23 and 4-year-olds. Their mom and dads are right next to them, but they're getting to a point where just building some confidence, building some independence, and learning, the skills of the different sports that we provide. We've got about 10 to 12 different sports, all the way from, flag football, basketball, volleyball, pickleball, which has become really popular, not amongst just the elder folks, but younger.
What age do you go up to? You start them at 3 or 4, but what are the older
go to about
kids?
13.
About 13.
13 is kind of where we find that they're starting to find their niche and which direction they want to go within sports. And but we don't, there is no discrimination there. If you're not ready for a club league or something like that, come to National Academy of Athletics and we'll keep you moving.
So you're thinking about this, Aaron, you started the company. You've had success in the past in business. What problem did you see, or why is this important for young people to go play sports and get fit?
When I was a kid, and sound like an old guy, and I am an old guy, we just played down the street and hung out with our friends. Yeah. And we started a game by Rochambeau. Mm-hmm. And when something went sideways, we figured it out ourselves, and we got to play everything from football to basketball to soccer to anything. We just played, and we learned how to do that. That's been taken away from kids nowadays. And so when I looked at it, I said, you know what? The parks and recreations need help. The schools need help. So the service we're giving is kids are more in danger of diabetes and a lot of other health issues, not to mention the, social emotional side of things. So by stepping in, we have filled that void using John Wooden's philosophy, which I've transformed into my talk, teach, play method, to allow kids to learn in a positive environment. They still compete, don't get me wrong, but it's really recreational and instructional and foundational. So they learn, like I just gave a talk down in Santa Clara to a bunch of parents. And I said, how many of you, 1,200 parents are there, how many of you are ready for your kids to fail this season? And they look at me, the guy was nuts. And I go, embrace the suck, baby, because your kids are just starting out. They're going to suck. And if they can all learn that failure is part of the journey, that's when they learn resiliency and to thrive. So that's really what it all founded on.
All right. Well, let's share some more philosophies, if you will, because we all, I guess, have our opinion on what the right things to do to raise our kids are. You brought up the word confidence, right? We know that's an important attribute for success in any part of our life. And it's so fragile. Confidence can be so fragile. What kinds of things are happening within your program to build confidence?
We have a curriculum that's designed that's based on effort rather than results. So we use talk, teach, play, which I'll explain real quick. 3 minutes of verbal instruction. We don't talk too much. 6 minutes of skill development where they have directions and corrections, and 6 minutes of play where they get to compete and show what they just learned, right? So in 15 minutes, they're going to learn how to bounce past the ball. They're going to hear about it, go through the process, and they get to compete and have fun. And our staff is trained. We don't have to break kids down. They break themselves down enough, right? They learn through their mistakes, and we celebrate the effort, not just the result. So if we're doing a shooting competition, yeah, they want to make the hoop, but are they doing it the right way? We know as an entrepreneur, you can do the wrong thing 100 times, and once in a while, you're going to luck into something. But once you start to do it right, then it becomes magical. And so that's what we're teaching the kids.
I love that. One of the things, I coach tackle football and 7th grade. And at the beginning of the year, we had about half veterans, half new, but they were fragile. Did you play football by any chance?
I did.
Yeah. So football is a violent game. But in any sport, there's ways that we progress. And this particular team progressed. They started off afraid to run into each other at full speed. And I found that by the end of the season, because they were progressing, that their confidence went up. By the end of the season, it's almost like it's infectious. One of them gets it and decides to just run full speed into somebody. It's like, oh, that doesn't hurt so bad. Next thing you know, 2 or 3, and they're getting the attaboys for the violence or the collision that you normally wouldn't get, is like hit somebody really hard. But I found that progress gave them so much confidence going into a game. I also see that with entrepreneurs too, as they develop confidence. It's like they become almost like a different person.
But Mark, they got to fail. See, this is the problem. We allow kids to go through life without experiencing failure. So then when they get knocked down, they don't know how to get themselves back up. They're looking for their parent in the stands. So if you're going to play football, and you're exactly right, if they don't get hit until they get smacked and go, oh, I remember when I got smacked the first time, I went, oh, all right. So now I better brace myself and be ready and then be able to bring it. And that's the contact piece of it. We have a program called Confidence Builders. And what we really focus on, first of all, is what is confidence? And we have to explain to kids. Kids are smarter than we were. When you were a kid, coach said run through the wall. You ran through the wall. Nowadays, you go, oh, wait. That's going to hurt. And by the way, my dad's a lawyer, right? So it's changed.
Yeah.
So we have to convince them of the why. What's in it for them and their why. Once we find that, Marcus is amazing. You watch this guy on the basketball court and taking these kids, and these kids, they're not even sure. Should they shoot? Should they not? And his team, the way they do it, and granted, using our system, but the experience he's got in helping these kids feel not judged, but encouraged. And that's the place. That's the safe space to fall down. And they don't run over and get them up. Okay, help yourself up. And they learn to do that. And that's what it is, whether it's lifting weights, whatever. You got to fail to succeed.
Yeah. Some bosses, some coaches, some people have a hard time catching people doing something right. And so it's easy to be critical of any of us, but certainly somebody who's learned how to play a sport, it's easy to like pick them apart. Yeah. And how do you tweak that or balance that correctiveness with also the attaboys and the confidence build?
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I always incorporate in our teaching of our coaches and our staff is simple things of, like, for example, an affirmation sandwich. You know, an affirmation sandwich. Well, it's an affirmation on the front. So, for example, if we're teaching how to shoot free throws, and hey, that was a great shot, but what I would do is use your hips and use your feet a little bit more. But that was a great shot. Just that simple affirmation on the back end of that really changes even that kid's confidence of, okay, I can do this. Right. And so that's part of what we teach is giving that confidence. Another example is, you know, we don't let the kids make the teams. We'll pick the teams. Our coaches will pick the teams. So that way, that one kid that's always picked last isn't getting picked last anymore, you know, and just because of that, his confidence has risen. And his parents come to us and go, hey, when's your next camp? Because my kid used to always get picked last. Yeah. And now he's not getting picked last anymore, and he's building confidence. That kid ends up being the one that you got to watch because he hits that growth spurt, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where'd he come from? Yeah. You know, so
effort. That word has been brought up today, and it's one of the most important things to advancement, and it's tough to teach or demand effort. For me, the effort comes when you have desire. And I'm sort of wondering in today's youth, especially maybe in a park and rec program, where's the desire level to achieve and excel and be great?
We found we take away there's a lie out there right now. If you're a parent listening, listen to me. It's a lie. Your child will not go to a program and play year-round soccer at age 6 and get a college scholarship. They might, but it's not going to happen because that club elite program said they're going to do that for your child. If your child, you know, Buster Posey, the player for the Giants.
Yes.
So he
I
said
got his jersey on the back of my chair.
There you go. Beautiful.
Secret.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Yeah, there you go. So I was in the Giants television commercials a long time back. Another story for another day. But we had a chat and I said, what is it going to take for a child to have a chance to play high school varsity, collegiately, or get paid to play? And Posey and Belt and Crawford, the guys were all there. We're talking about it. And they're talking about effort and all this stuff. And then Posey goes, no. It's passion. If it's the child's passion, they will. So for us, now granted, they got to have athleticism, all the other factors. Our job is to lead the way in such a way for these kids to develop a passion. You do it every day. I just read something here that says the harder you work, the luckier you get. I say all the time, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, but I know the harder I work, the more luck I have. That's what we tell the kids, is that we want you to be lucky, but you're going to get lucky because you're going to fall in love with doing this drill. You're going to fall in love with competing, which is the only way you're going to get better.
Yeah. It's amazing. Hard work. You talked about what would you say to the parents on this. I love the fact that you're focused on trying to find their passion, trying to help them find their passion, I suppose. And along the way, they end up deciding to work hard once they've got some passion. That's what that mantra came from. My daughter and I share it. She was a high-level gymnast. Now she's a high-level entrepreneur. Yeah. And but much of society isn't built that way. It's like there are certain people that just end up becoming more driven. You had some advice to the parents earlier. What advice would you give to parents around helping them find that passion so they develop work ethic, or maybe any way that they would develop that work ethic?
Two things that I do. I do a lot of parent orientations and seminars. And I think as a parent, and by the way, I've got 2 adult children and now I'm grandpa, so I can tell you that, and they all played multiple sports. Number one is that unconditional love, knowing that you fail or succeed, I'm still going to love you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to celebrate when they're there and they show up. I'm celebrating that. I'm celebrating, like he said, the effort, not just the result. Number one. Number 2, my mom used to drive me nuts with this one, is she'd always, remember what happened. If I got an F on a paper, didn't win a game, she goes, "So honey, what's the lesson?" And to the point where I want to kick her in the shins, rest in soul, I get. But like, really give me the answer, but don't give your kid the answer. Have them get themselves. But the second one, which we found, which works so good with us, is called proximal. Now in business, as well as in life, for kids especially, it's got to be proximal. Proximal play to us is if we took 5-year-old kids and put them in a regular basketball gym and or on a football field and said kick a goal, it's too high. They don't have a chance to be successful. So that's not going to work for them. The goal is unachievable. Mm-hmm. So we have to break it down to little pieces. On the other hand, if it's too easy and it's not challenging, they're going to lose interest. So for us, the key is really, it's part of our motto, which came from John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, is to play hard and have fun. Love what you're doing, but you got to do the work, or you're not going to get anywhere. But if you work really hard, but you don't love what you do, you're not going to keep doing it. So for us, our motto, play hard, have fun, comes work your butt off, love what you do, success will come.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I like how you said break it down into incremental steps or maybe smaller goals. I'm wearing my shirt brick by brick, which is something that I really believe in, is that, you're not going to become great at basketball, football, baseball, soccer in one day, but you can kind of get so you can master one component of a sport. And some of the stuff that I think we need to master, not only in sports, but in business, is consistency. That's what we worked on with our football team. It's like, that's a brick that you need to create for your life if you want to be successful. If you don't have the ability to be consistent or have discipline to do it over and over and over the right way, you're not going to be great. And I think that's going to ultimately, when you don't find that, really, I'll call it success. When you don't find success, it's easy to quit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, Michael Jordan says it perfectly. The only shots you miss are the ones you don't take. And, you in business, in life, as a youth, as an adult, you got to keep taking shots. And if you do that, good things will happen. And maybe it's not a 3-point shot. I always get on, kids in my, because I coach basketball at Bowman Charter. I got the 7th and 8th grade boys,
which is up in Auburn, right?
Yeah, which is up in Auburn. And I'll have kids come in.
You got the 7th and 8th grade boys up in Auburn?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 of my grandsons play for Franklin, which is like a Loomis school. Would you guys play those guys?
They what's the name of that school?
It's Loomis. It's Franklin Elementary.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have this. We're in the Sierra Foothills League.
Okay.
We've got Weimar and Forest Hill, and then the 2 John Adams academies.
Oh, nice.
And then a couple others. But I'll always see the kids come into the gym, and the first thing they want to do is start chucking up threes, and we'll probably run for that, because that's not where progress starts. You want to see the ball go in the basket, and those are really low percentage shots. So the consistency is going to come from layups, getting the 90 percenters and then backing up, free throws. I'll play horse with these guys and I'll just sit at the free throw line and I knock them out every time because they're trying all these trick shots. Well, stay consistent with the shots that are attainable.
What do you see in terms of humility? So I've seen this, I say, gradual trend toward showboating and taunting. And I think a lot of it comes from professional sports. You
Absolutely.
see the flashy touchdown, people celebrating many times prematurely. They haven't, you're down by 3 touchdowns and you're celebrating that you tackled somebody.
Yeah.
And so I see that happening. It's drifted down to the youth. And so I'm wondering your perspective when you mentioned that they run for, getting up there and throwing up threes when it's not the, that's not the best use of their, time. Do you see showboating, more showboating today?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Because I feel like it's almost a culture shift that we're all a little more blingy, if you will.
Yeah. And I think it really, I feel it stems from the house, and kind of how the parents let that go. And, if a parent is letting them celebrate, then, you're going to continue to see that. As in our position, I always tell my players, play like you've been there before, hold yourself to a high level of the integrity of the game. And don't let the integrity take you.
Are you a parent?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay, you're a parent.
I'm a
you're
dog
a grandparent. Yeah. Okay. I'll throw this at you then. I'm a grandparent too, and my kids played sports, and I coach and I've coached. But it's an interesting thing how hard to be on them over those softer issues like not running through the bag, on a ground ball, or celebrating, when you got a single and you're celebrating. Or, I see it all the time in the NFL. Somebody's on second base and they're pointing up to God. It's like, I love that people are spiritual, but it's like these, it's like part of their personality. They're trying to get likes.
We've gotten a little sideways in the world, a lot sideways. I'm old school. Again, remember, Coach John Wooden was the guy that told Bill Walton, if you didn't cut your hair, you're not going to play for us.
Right. And Bill Walton's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, right? And then he was serious about it.
And Wooden's a college coach for anybody who's younger people out there.
Check out UCLA, Pyramid of Success. You'll get the rest of the story. But again, so what's happened is what you permit, you promote. What I was promoting with my kids was when you score a basket, you better find the person that passed you the ball and go give them a high five. When you score a touchdown, you better find those people to block for you and go give them a high five. When you're whatever it is, you don't celebrate yourself, you celebrate your team. We always, in fact, I just had this chat with, man, gonna get emotional. My son is 23 years old. He manages gas station corporately in Greensboro, North Carolina. Married, 2 kids, just bought a house. Proud dad moment. And it comes to sport. We're talking about it. He trains other kids, and where it comes from, I ask him all the time. He goes, Dad, you taught me that when I was a little dude. He remembers in kindergarten or first grade, be a leader today, make good choices. So he's right. It comes from the home. But here's the deal. I think if we coaches that are actually teaching the kids are focused more on the kids fall in love with the game and continue to want to play, success will get there. Entrepreneurs, if you haven't failed, you haven't been an entrepreneur long enough, right? We know that in business, whatever it is. We don't win every day. But so for me with the kids, I tell the parents all the time that come through my tutelage, we got a basketball league in Sonoma County, 2,400 kids are playing, right? And we're teaching these parents, leave the kids alone. It's their journey. And during the game, if you're whether you're coaching or not, you gotta know what hat you're wearing. Because if you're trying to coach those kids with the parent hat on, there's a problem. And I could tell you guys stories that are literally eye openers. If you got someone out there that's got kids, I'll tell you right now, do not put your child in a position of choosing between the parent that feeds them and the coach supposed to know what's going on. Ball gets hit to right field, they're supposed to throw to the cutoff. Parents yell, throw it home. And now the kid has to make that decision. That's too much pressure. They're not respecting the coach, not respecting the game. They're not going to play that sport 2 years from now, no matter how good they are.
This would be advice to parents. And I had a great group of parents this year in coaching it's the Del Oro Junior Eagles, and our parents are 7th graders. And so they're about 13, becoming men.
Yeah.
And the parents didn't complain. They didn't, you never got to, we weren't the championship team. So a lot of times if you're not winning every game, the parents feel this motivation to help the coach, maybe complain or maybe convince the child that the coaches don't know what they're doing. We had none of that. We, it was fantastic. And when my son played, I see that everywhere else in society around the other coach. I see over these helicopter parents getting involved with the coaching staff and undermining the coaches when the coaches aren't around to the parent. And it's so self-destructive or so destructive for the child if you're getting them to have to guess who they're supposed to be respecting. You need to respect both, but when you're on the field, you respect the coach.
Right. But you set an environment of that. I can tell right now without even watching you coach a minute, he's one of us. He's an NAoA kind of guy because you set the environment, right? Yeah. And we actually focus on reinforcing the effort rather than the result, but we don't penalize for not being successful. See, because winning is the best deodorant. You can luck into success short term, but sustainable comes from learning to fall in love with the work and enjoying the journey. So what you're talking about with these parents, it's so vital. We call it being like-minded. If Marcus is coaching my son and Marcus says to do it this way, the only thing I can do is say, do it this way. If I say anything different, I'm undermining. Do you remember when we were kids and you used to have respect for police, fire, military, Mr. Johnson down the street, coach, whatever? That's gone. Now, somehow, us parents have trained our kids. You know what we need to do? You need to have the adult earn their respect. And I think it's a big mistake. I think we got to go back to giving everybody respect.
Respect your elders. Respect everybody.
Respect everybody until they prove they don't deserve it. And if we get back to that, then you know what? If the coach isn't the best coach, whatever, you know what? They're volunteering their time for your child, for God's sake, to give your child a positive experience. You know what? Celebrate it.
And the best way to show respect, it's like what I was saying at the beginning of the school. What are you working on? How can I help? Then listen. And I think that listening that's a show of respect. So if we can teach our children to pay attention and listen and absorb, they're going to develop respect. If you're not listening, if all you're doing is jibber jabbering and playing grab ass, of course you're not showing respect to the coach and you're not learning anything. So we don't know whether the coach is doing his job or not, if or telling you how to do it correctly. If you're not even paying attention.
Have you heard of a third party compliment?
I've heard that before.
The term. Okay. So neuroscientially, again, I study this stuff way too much, but what happens is if I tell Mark what a great job Marcus is doing, it's 600 times more powerful to Marcus than if I said, good job, Marcus. So as a parent, we do it with my grandkids with their stuffed animals. Their stuffed animal is Teddy. Hey, Teddy, did you see what Genevieve did? How great she's doing? And amazingly, neuroscience, it increases. If your football player does something good and you give him a compliment, nice job, good attaboy, it's good. But you tell the teammate, you see what he did? That's what I'm talking about. 600 times more powerful to that child.
I love that. One of the things we did after practice, all of my coaching is recognize individual achievement, as you're talking about. And I think there's a part of society that may be thinking that no, everybody should be treated equally and maybe not recognize the people that are putting in more effort or having more success. But if we look for those unique moments that can be reinforced in a group setting, it's so valuable, especially for the players that are fragile at that moment, right? They're developing their confidence and so on. Recognizing those players when they have get a W, that is what I think helps people want to keep cranking.
Listening to that too. We at Bowman have a mentorship program. So we let, the 6th graders, we only have a 7th and 8th grade team, as a sixth grader, you can't play on the seventh grade team unless we didn't have enough seventh graders. But fortunately for us, we never have that problem. We have enough kids, but we have a mentorship program in place for the sixth graders. So they get to come and practice with us. They get to work out. They get to be in, our half times where we're talking about gameplay and strategy, things like that, to where they feel like they're part of something. And that mentorship program, I think, is scaled throughout, should be scaled throughout all of sports and all of life, is having someone to look up to. That's obviously a good example as well. Another thing that we do is accountability buddies. Having others that you're both accountable for each other and helping one another. When we go over grades in the middle, when they get progress reports, I don't bring each player aside and talk about their grades. I bring the entire team to the center of the court and we talk about your grades, because collectively we can help that kid, right? We're all teammates. It's all right. You're getting a D. It's not the end of the world. What are we going to do to get you a B or an A? Math? You're good in math. All right. Well, you're going to help Tyler with this. All right, coach, we got it, because we need him to be able to play. And because of that accountability and the teamwork, camaraderie, you get better kids, you get a better community, and hopefully a championship out of it too.
Yeah.
I think a lot, there's so much crossover between entrepreneurship and sports that it's uncanny how much they align. That you were way up there in sports, obviously. But a lot of people end up quitting. The world has a lot of quitters, the world has a lot of people who start things, and it feels to me like we need more finishers. And so teaching that resiliency, that get back up sort of mindset, I have to imagine you have to deal with that kind of thing, even with the young people, that their commitment level is just light.
Well, again, there's two things that have changed. One is if we know everybody's why. So at the NASCAV Athletics, 600 coaches, I don't know, whatever we got, we study everybody's why and we check in all the time. So if I know your why is this, then I'm gonna do everything I can to feed your why. And unfortunately, it's not like it was in the old days where it's just a group and took a village, you just go do it. Now there's a lot of more individual. We talked about that a little bit. So that's one piece. But the other one,
can I follow up on that a little bit? So you take the child and you ask them their why as is associated with sports, or in what way? What are you trying to get out of them?
So it started real quick. Our company's an inverted pyramid. I'm on the bottom, the CEO. Above me are the partnerships, the franchisees, the community partners, and we lift everybody up. So everything's a lift up. And I want the visual so you see we lift up. That's our whole purpose. So when we deal with it, he as the franchisee is lifting up his coaches to know their why. And he makes sure if they're going to work for us, they've not only gone through all the training on our intranet and our stand, they've gone through the training with me on Zoom so that I'm like, okay, I got you, right? So it's there. Then they go out there and they learn from him specifically in each, whether it's Detroit or Pensacola or San Diego, they get the same training and they go out the same stuff. It's all there together. So now we're set for success, because I think one of the big problems that we have is people aren't prepared to be successful and they think they're just going to show up and it's going to magically happen. It don't work that way. When we get to the kids, then we go to that next level. So he knows the why of his staff. Some it's about money. Okay, you want more money? You got to do this, right? You want to start. So I asked the kids who are playing for us, you want to be a point guard? Yes, I do. You want to start? Yes, I do. Well, here's my point guards show up at practice 10 minutes early, ready to play. So when you show up 5 minutes before or game time, guess what? Or practice time, you're not showing me that you want, right? So we find out and we make agreements. It's not contracts, it's agreements. If these are the three things you want, so we know your why, we're going to do everything we can to lift you up to get those for yourself. We're not giving them to you. They got to earn them, but they get those through the programs. You should see when you watch, you go check it out. When you watch, doesn't matter the sport, doesn't matter. It's the same system. It's the same way of lifting them up. And the more we know about the child's why, and the crazy part about it is we've done our best to not worry about the parents' why, because most of the parents really just want their kids to be healthy and happy. So if we do our job and those kids come through our program, whether it's a physical education class or a league or whatever it is, and they come out healthy and happy, they come home happy and tired.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Yeah.
For sure. You mentioned leadership earlier. And so not every child, not every human sees themselves as a leader. It takes a decision to lead. And sometimes you look around and I guess it's me because nobody else seems to be leading, but we want to bring that out among our players or among our teammates, even though you might not be the CEO of the company. You don't need a title to be the leader, but everybody can lead and probably should lead on an effective team. Yeah. How do you bring that out so that the person who might not see themselves as a leader, can begin to visualize themselves or begin to act as a leader, and then also how to develop somebody into a strong leader?
Yeah. Yeah, I think leadership. It really comes from, again, I think Aaron hit it on the head. Is understanding that kid's why. What is it that they want to do? I mean, one of my best friends, he was the kicker. He didn't make a lot of kicks. His name was Chad Frey. We used to call him Frey Wershing, but he was far from Ray Wershing. He was Frey Wershing, and he didn't make many kicks, but he kept kicking. He kept kicking. He kept showing up, and he was a leader that was always there. He was a vocal leader. He was a spiritual leader, and now he's doing very, very well. Started a couple companies and doing very well. And I think it's, again, like Aaron said, it's knowing your why, and then asking what do you love to do? What part of it do you love to do? I've got kids on my team that, they don't see the floor that much, but they're on the team and they're a huge part of the team because I give them opportunity to do what they love to do. Well, if that's, hey, when our kids are on the floor, you're going to get them chanting, hey, let's go team, and you do that very well, then that's your job. If carrying the equipment, being the first to bring equipment is your job, and you do it well, then that's what you're going to do. And that's a sign of leadership, and they end up building that confidence.
I think there's two components to that, which is kind of an interesting, I'm trying to put to the point. For us, it's commanding or demanding respect. Right? That's it. You either demand it or you command it. And so for us, we're teaching kids to have the confidence to be a risk taker, to then say, okay, some want to command it, some will try to demand it. And we know if you command respect, it's a lot more sustainable than if you're demanding, we're gonna, right? It's gonna wear people out. But It's interesting because the only way they're gonna get there, they have to embrace the suck, right? You're not an immediate leader. They're not born. Right? There's some that have an innate certain ability, but it comes from the ability to say, you know what, whatever you do, I love you, I trust you, and I know you're going to be all right. And when you suck, I'm going to say good effort. What's the lesson? And let's get back up. And that's what we focus on. Again, it's not we're trying to make you a leader so you get a college scholarship. We're going to make you a good citizen. We're going to make you a good part of the community, no matter what you end up doing in life.
When you say embrace the suck, it's interesting the way you frame it, because I always think of it as less about failure and more about pain tolerance. When I'm doing, I do CrossFit, I do some yoga, and invariably it's really, really hard. And I'm sure your kids, run into that kind of thing when you're doing conditioning, and it is hard. And that pain, getting used to appreciating it is something most people never get to in their life. But the ones that do can end up working through pain, even if it's the pain of my muscles are tired. I've done 200 push-ups or whatever. It's like you getting yourself into a mindset where you sort of like that. It's kind of crazy talk, but it's effective in succeeding.
to get to the point where the endorphins kick in, right? The 27th mile or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never run that way. I don't even like driving that far, by the way, but you know what I mean? But yeah, to get that place. And unfortunately, let's be honest, it's really truly experiential learning. I believe kids innately would fly if we didn't tell them they can't, because your son, your daughter, when she wanted to walk, she got up and fell down and got up. You didn't have to go, okay, it's training day, we're going to walk today. She just wanted to walk, so she did it. It was her passion. It was her desire. And all you had to do is get the coffee table out of the way and let her walk. And she fell down, right? And so I feel like we as parents owe it to our kids, or as leaders to the people we lead. I got a text today, which was good for my heart, a gal that just started working for us. And she said she worked for a lot of different people. And she goes, you know what? I've never had a boss be more appreciative than you. Thank you.
Wow.
Pretty powerful. And he'll get the same thing. When I send an email, everybody in the universe gets email. The first thing is, hope life is treating you kindly. I appreciate you. I appreciate whatever it is. And then when something goes about, if we can just show a little more appreciation, you want to talk about leadership.
Yeah.
Right. And again, part of that indirectly is that third party. And I love, oh my God, I love doing that. When we get in our meetings and I talk about so-and-so from so-and-so, it just lifts them up. Yeah. So I know I'm all over the map, but I'm telling you, man, I've got chills thinking about that. That was a hell of a text. I mean, literally, I just got that from Leanne. Thank you very much, by the way.
Yeah.
Little shout out. Like, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about fitness. You touched on it at the beginning that, you know, and we all know it. We're less healthy than we were, because our kids aren't going outside and playing till the lights, street lights come on and stuff anymore as much. We have a tendency to be more sedentary and playing video games, and we all know that. That's got a huge societal impact in terms of how long we live, and really just how happy we are. When I'm feeling fit, I'm happier. Yeah. And so I have to imagine these kids that any age where you find yourself way out of shape, not fit, you just don't feel as good. You don't feel as happy. Yeah. You must see self-esteem rise as people get into shape, and you must see a level of happiness happen when people are no longer winded after they've been playing 2 minutes of basketball.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing. I think that fitness is, you make it a lifestyle or you don't, and it stems from just being active. And we find that obviously the more active these kids are, they're not only just building their confidence, but they're building their wind. They're feeling it in their bodies, the way that they run. We even do, one of ours is an RSVP club, which is run, speed, vertical, and power. And we're starting that at a young age, not even 12, 13, but 8 and 9, and learning how to use your speed and your vertical and your power, and how to push off and do those things. So maybe it's not football in their genes, but maybe it's cross country. Well, hey, you're going to be in shape as a cross country runner, and that's cool with us. So
a child's body is an all-terrain vehicle.
Yeah,
they need to learn how to drive it. If you don't, it's like I got a 93 YJ Jeep. It's all lifted and fun. Like me taking on a freeway and going 4-wheel drive low and sitting in the freeway. Like, no, you know what? And the parents have to be, man, let your kid fall. Healthy risk. We climb trees, for God's sake. Remember, right?
Dracula Firehouse is a 10-year-old.
Yeah. That's what we did.
Scrap lumber.
Yeah. There you go. Right. Yeah. And I did walk uphill both directions in the snow.
You too? I thought I saw your house.
But the thing is, if they learn to use their body, that's why for me, okay, got to get the fundamentals like he's talking about. But here's the deal. If you got a child under the age of 13 and they're not playing at least 2 sports, in my opinion, you're messing this up. Kids should play a season and then put it away. Another different sport. The best in the world, right? There's a hockey player who's pretty good, right? Wayne Gretzky. As soon as the season was over, his dad put the stuff away and got out the baseball gear. And after that, because if they play multiple sports, they get to throw, they get to catch, they get to move. They're developing. You know what else? They're meeting new people. They're getting different coaches. It's just a whole unique thing that leads right back to not just the physical health, because this is the one that scares me. It's the mental health. We just had a pandemic. They said a child between kindergarten and 8th grade that went through the pandemic, it would take 3 years to academically catch up in school. Got it. The scary part is they said it could take up to 8 years to catch up socially and emotionally. The kids that got right back to that 3 year and caught up were the ones that played team sports because they got the opportunity to succeed and fail and fall down and play and improvise and adapt and create. That's what a kid's about. If you're out there, that's what being a kid's about. Let them be a kid, let them play and let it be their journey, but play everything, play every sport possible.
Yeah. The one thing that I saw in my football team this year, and it makes me relate it back to yoga, my flexibility, amount of limberness has improved a lot since I started yoga, right? I'm pretty flexible now. For a 62-year-old man, I'm really flexible, I guess.
I was like, who's this guy in the corner, man? This guy's amazing.
But I noticed, and my kids were flexible. So I was flexible kind of as a kid, not wildly flexible, but like, when you do CrossFit, you play sports, you're limber, or you should be limber. You do a certain amount of stretching. My kids couldn't bend down and touch their toes. I don't think I had one kid on the team, and we did that every day. And obviously there was incremental improvement, but I think kids sit around so much these days, they have no flexibility. And it's amazing. If you're a parent out there and you want your kid to be a good athlete, please have them work on mobility. It helps with weightlifting. It helps with turning a double play. It helps with, a layup. It's amazing. And your vertical leap goes up if you have, mobility. It's amazing how people just don't take the time. Instead of sitting around playing video games in a chair, do it on a yoga ball or something.
No, I just had a conversation with one of my coaches who's he's a junior college basketball player, and he's got a lot of talent. And he just told me today, Coach, I pulled my hamstring. I go, how'd you do that? Were you in a game? No, I was actually just doing some plyometric stuff, and it's so important. I think the preparation, right, really is the big piece of really separating yourselves from potentially other players that are going for that same position. I mean, even look at, 49ers right now in some of these teams. I mean, they're always, and you think that they have, they have the best of the best when it comes to, therapists and strengthening coaches. So you got to take care of the preparation of your sport and your body.
Did you know we have a NFL? We have some former NFL guys that work out at East Wind, but there's one guy that he plays for the Cardinals now, Josiah. He's tight end, and he comes to yoga in the off season. He's coming to yoga. I think he does it during the season too. But like if it's the off season, you'll see him at East Wind Yoga up in Auburn. And the guy understands that component of it. It's going to make him a better NFL athlete to be doing that. It's good for the mind as well, but it's essential for being strong in athletics.
Just think of a rubber band that you leave in your drawer, and then you want to use it, and you pull it out, and it snaps and it fragments. But if you take that rubber band out and you just stretch it like this, even once a week, it's going to last 10 years. It's just, it's so simple. Now, obviously we could talk about nutrition, all the other factors. By the way, more water for kids. I don't care who you are. More water. Get a hose in the front of the yard and let them drink out of that. They'll have fun with
coaches. Let them have some water breaks, during the practice. Work them as hard as you want, but give them some water.
Our training, RSPQ warm up, 3-6-6, talk, teach, play, 15 minutes, water break. 3-6-6, 15-minute water break. So it's every 15 minutes they get a chance to get water. And sometimes part of it is to train their brain and to give them a little bit. But virtually all of us, me especially, we're all underhydrated. We need more water.
Well, it's amazing. A lot of these old school there's a lot of things great about old school coaching. I agree. They're tougher on people, I think, on average. But I remember playing football as a kid, and you didn't get water breaks. And if you did, the coach would actually hold the water fountain, and he'd give you like 3 seconds to get as much as you can in. And
I remember those.
I don't know what happened. And I feel like we're way more aware of how important water is today, but it's got to become a routine.
It's an interesting one too. I've noticed about high school particularly. There's been such a shift to off-campus coaches and club, et cetera. man, every coach I had all the way through high school was a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I messed up, we're talking about accountability. I messed up in class or something going on. I was paying the price out on the football field or basketball or baseball. I was paying the price. I heard Mr. Chavez said you did. Oh man, you know what I mean? I think I hate to say it, but I think we need that village mentality back with these kids, so they know there's accountability because it's so important. But they also lifted you up because they were the first one to lift you up and celebrate through the journey with you. You know, we need more of that. Well, first thing we ask everybody when you're a coach, how many teachers do we have? Coaches, how many teachers? It takes like a minute. Finally, they go, oh, we're all teachers. You got to teach, right? And part of it is teach the health side, the flexibility side, the fundamental side, the mental side. It's a whole different game. The National Academy of Athletics, we really focus on the whole child, on building healthy bodies and happy hearts. That's our focus.
Yeah.
All right, let you guys have the last word here. Maybe Marcus, just share with some closing thoughts, and then we'll have you, Aaron, do the mic drop moment.
Yeah, I think we're at a time in society and in the world that we've got to keep youth enjoying sports, really making sure that they're having fun, and give them a safe place to fail, and like we had mentioned before, it's we don't lose in life really, we just learn. And we've got to, hold each other accountable, teach our young youth to be accountable in the things, and there's going to be consequences for things, and to enjoy sports. And that's really what our value is at National Academy of Athletics, is letting kids come to enjoy sports and be part of, camaraderie and team and spirit and all those great things. I mean, I have a coach that is coaching for us now, who used to be, he went through our program and now he's a coach for us. And he was
that's cool.
His parents paid for him to come to National Academy of Athletics, and now he's wearing our shirt as a coach today. And so for that, I mean, he loves coming. We've got staff that I tell them, if you think that this is a job, then this is the wrong thing for you. Yeah. Because what you do, you're giving back, and you're building better community, and you're just going to feel good at the end of the day. And so is that kid, that one. Oh, it only takes one. You teach one, reach one, teach one. And we get to do that every day at National Academy of Athletics. Pretty cool.
Yeah. The blessings and blessings, man. I like I tell everybody, I don't work for a living. I feel like I work harder than many, but like you say, the thing is that youth sports, there's no better life skill teaching tool than youth sports. Parents, you can't make youth sports amazing for your kids. You can ruin it for them. My suggestion is, if you're out there and you want your child to have a positive experience and want them to learn, to love, to move their body, play, be healthy, get them involved in recreational sports, start them out with camps and clinics and programs, and have a lot of fun. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you're looking to give back and find something, we're finding a lot of people that are in the range between 30 and 50 that are now franchising with us because they're like, you know what, I've done this, but now I want to give back. Now I want to have a mission and make money. But I want to be bigger than myself. So for me, I was just thinking about Kennedy when we were talking about this, and it comes to ask not what your community can do for you, but what you can do for your community. And I feel like we're building, man, and I'm so blessed that we got so many amazing people. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today and share. But it's all about community, man.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, I'm grateful for great coaches. You're doing so much for the good of our communities. And I think great coaches, just like you said, Marcus, they breed great coaches. I think great entrepreneurs breed future entrepreneurs as well. It's like if you have a calling to be somebody that helps people develop in their life, seize that opportunity. We have that at East Wind Yoga. Great trainers and coaches. It's like, man, it's infectious. It makes other people want to give back in that same way. And it's super rewarding when you see the progress of somebody that you've been working with. So thank you guys for what you do. It's really important for our society. So thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Real quick, one more thing. Right now, the National Academy of Athletics is giving away 3 free franchises. we've decided it's a community hero giveaway. And so if you're a Parks and Rec professional that's ready for the next adventure, if you're a U.S. veteran, thank you for your service. We're giving a franchise away, and or a educator, administrator in schools that's like ready for your next adventure. They can go to our website and enter to win. In January, we're going to award 3 franchises somewhere throughout the nation to people for giving back.
Interesting. You may not know this about me, either one of you, but I have my son runs our charitable organization. It's called Allegiant Vets. So when you mention veterans, my son was shot in Afghanistan, and we started this organization to help vets. We're now the largest in the country with thousands and thousands of vets that go through tens of thousands go through our program, I think, every year. Right now, there's like 2,000 in our 1,500, 2,000 in our program. So we have a huge veteran community at our disposal. So I will mention that to my son so that now they just go in and they enter a drawing or something.
It's not even a drawing. Basically, real quick, they just go into the website, NAoA There's an enter to win. They put their information in. It goes in. We have a panel, and they basically go through a process. And we're looking for somebody that is given back, that has put it out there, that has a love for kids, a love for sport, an opportunity to have this, and then we're going to give it to them.
Interesting. You might be interested in speaking to when we do a Zoom call, there's people all over the world. There's like, let's say 600 or 700 people on the Zoom call. And I get in and talk about winning and entrepreneurship and some of my thoughts, but that might be an interesting conversation for you to have with, these are people that are in the military today, and they're about to get out. It's called Skill Bridge. And they're trying to decide, what am I going to do? And some of these guys have the money to buy a franchise, I'm sure. Yeah. If you don't mind, what does a franchise typically cost?
About $35K.
$35K one-time cost?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Then you've got a really rewarding career too.
Yeah.
Well, that's Marcus. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Hey, count me in. In front of Marcus, I'm in.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you for what you do.
Appreciate it. Thank you.